Good morning, it's me, Teresa Valentino, the author of Dear Jimmy, What a Child Trafficking Survivor Wishes You Knew. I took a little break after the Brett Kavanaugh kerfuffle for mental health reasons. I think you guys know this is more of a manifesto on my part where I just say what I need to say as a feminist writer. And that's, I don't always have it in me to catch up with you, but I am thinking about it, I promise. So anyway, I had a great little thing happen to me where I met a famous person. I had a brush with greatness, and it was a very exciting, a more exciting than average brush with greatness because I didn't even know he was famous. I just saw him doing his greatness and totally got it. And I had a little magical moment that I could not have imagined. That's the thing, is I couldn't have imagined this outcome, okay? I could not have imagined that I would be in just this place at just this time, which was only a few blocks from my house, yeah? And like just this bubble of magic that this wonderful, talented person creates around himself. I got to feel it. I got to be in that moment of perfect creativity, and it totally steeled me for the crushing fucking rejection letter that I got the next day. So, let me back up a little bit, but just to warn you, this is kind of a complex story. It goes in a lot of different places. This was a huge win for me, and I paid a huge emotional price for it, okay? So it might take me a little minute, especially with Mercury retrograde, to really explain this story in a way that you can understand. Fortunately, I have visual aids. I took a videotape of the young man whose name is Dylan Lloyd, and I will post that on the blog. Dylan Lloyd is a famous BMX racer. Do you know that? Do you know what BMX is? BMX is when people dance in the sky on bikes, basically. So, I was walking to a bus stop that I should not have gone to spend money on cookie cutters for my little sweetheart Victoria next door. She's gonna be 4 years old in a couple weeks, and I got invited to her birthday party, and I'm the world's biggest geek with no friends, so I am just on pins and needles until I can get over there. So I need to make a bunch of fancy cookies. I need to give her sparkly cookies every day. I'm hoping that maybe if my neighbors need to go to a party and they need a tray of cookies, that they would order one from me. Things like that. I don't think the latter is going to happen, but I really need to make some cookies for Victoria's birthday. It will just fill my heart with gladness. I need to fill my bank with money though, and I have some freelance work that I would need to stay at my house and type so that I can turn it in and exchange that for money. But I really wanted to make Victoria some cookies and spend money that I do not have. See, that's the thing. It's like I don't even have enough money to get to the end of the month properly. So I have no business taking a bus across town to spend $40 on bullshit, okay? But I love Victoria, and I love her little face, and I can totally fuck with her when I give her cookies. Victoria, would you like to eat a tree? No. Are you sure? No, I don't eat trees. Do you eat Christmas trees? So that's, that's what I live for. Literally, that's what I live for. I'd rather fucking go hungry and make her little sparkle Christmas tree cookies because life is better that way. I don't give a shit about going hungry. She's magic. So, you know who else is magic? Dylan fucking Lloyd. So I'm walking down to this bus stop to get Victoria her cutters that I can't afford and her sparkly, glittery fucking sprinkles that I can't afford. And I'm just thinking about, does the bus stop here? Do I need to go there? Oh no, I can go straight through. Because I've never been there before. That's the thing, it's close to my house, but I've never taken that road before, and I should not have been taking it then. As I approach this skate park that I didn't know was there, I see just a young man doing like if Simone Biles was a guy on a bike. He's like 40 or 30, at least, he's gotta be at least 20, 25 feet in the air, like no exaggeration. No, he's gotta be higher than that because the ramp had to be 20 feet in the air, at least 10 or 15. So I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Like he was way up in the air. He had serious air and just flipping and spinning at the same time. It was crazy. That was the craziest shit I've ever seen. What I'm gonna put on the video, what I got on video of him that I'm gonna put up on my blog is very, very fancy, make no mistake. But what I saw him doing when I wasn't even prepared to like open my eyes and look over there, that was, what? I mean, really, what? So That's the kind of shit I'll probably never see again. It's not, I mean, of all the beautiful things he's done on his Instagram, none of it was as fancy as that first thing that I did not realize he was doing over there until I saw something in the sky. Um, so, of course, big dork me, I just I waddled my walker over there and plopped myself down, totally ruining his flow. Like, oh shit, well that's awkward because that's the most magical shit I've seen, and I just want to sit in the bubble of his greatness, but it totally disrupted. You know what I mean? It's an oxymoron, so I gotta go. I took a little video of him, and honestly, it was just such a wonderful thrill for me to see him just in his beautiful moment of creative expression, just a young athlete at the height of his health and glory, doing his thing in his perfect moment of privacy that I ruined. And you know what? That shit is magic. That shit is magic. And it made me feel like I had taken an edible. And then, so I take this video like an asshole thinking, oh, we got talented boys in my neighborhood. No, fucker, he's world famous. So, you know, he tells me his name. And then I was already in this bubble of magic from his greatness. And then his boys are all standing there. It's like as if I saw P. Diddy somewhere and I was like, oh, that guy's very well dressed, isn't he? Oh, can I take a picture of your awesome outfit and tweet it? And he goes, yeah, my name is Diddy, P. Diddy, D-I, and I'm like, what is it, P. Riddy? No, it's Diddy, D-I-D-D-Y. It's like all of his guys would stand there and be like, oh my fucking God, no she didn't. It was the same way. It was exactly the same. That is skate park P. Diddy. So, but what the hell do I know about a skate park? Get serious. So, anyway, I was in that little bubble of greatness just from having seen him. It was so exciting that it took me a minute to notice how fucking beautiful that boy is. Honest to God, he's prettier than any statue could ever be. He was almost naked and sweating and his muscles are all puffed up and everything. It was like, I'm not even horny for anybody at all. But if I see any person that pretty, I want to just stare at him. That's it. Sorry. So I really could have sat there and just, even if he wasn't dancing around in the sky on a bike, I could have just sat there and just looked at his beautiful ass all day long. The cookie cutter place is open till 9, I'm sure. We'll be fine. But, you know, but I was cramping his style, so I just left. I'm not a jerk. So, and then I found out that he's famous, and I saw his Instagram, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I was literally giggling for at least an hour. It felt like an edible had just kicked in for me. You know what I mean? I had 6 shots in my neck that morning. I don't know if people can even imagine what those fucking trigger point shots in your neck feel like, lightning going all the way through your body, honest to God. So I had that morning, and then I had to do hella walking to get to Victoria's cookie cutter place that she doesn't care about, and you know, fuck, it was, I don't know. It was a lot of walking for me. I was not feeling that great. I wanted to go home and lie down, but you know what? I would not have seen Dylan Lloyd on his bike if I had stayed home and lied down or do my work. See? You gotta go with the flow of life. That's the thing. Your higher self is not some chick in a shimmery dress that gives you completed instructions who has already figured shit out for you. No, your higher self is your good friend on the mountaintop who can drop hints from time to time, who can drop manna from time to time. You just gotta let that happen. So, that story about Dylan Lloyd is actually kind of great and perfect in itself. But of course, I'm mastering story structure now, so of course that's only the beginning part. Then I got the crushing blow that's going to send me into Act 2, where I'm going to have to do a bunch of other shit now. So, I come back from the store, and the next day, for whatever reason, reality finally hit me about a feminist writing fellowship that I applied for and did not get. So, I did not get that thing, and I've had to really think about this blog. I'm not going to even pretend that this blog is anything that I can sell anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and say what I need to say. This blog is nothing more than my way of claiming my voice as a marginalized woman, as a disenfranchised person all my life, and as a feminist, as a humanist. I have things that I need to say the way that I need to say them. That is not the same thing as being able to sell literature. Even among the feminist and progressive personal narrative community, the thing about being an outsider artist in literature, like in my visual arts, are a different thing. At some point, maybe people will get into my visual arts, but you know, in terms of I am fundamentally a writer, and the problem with, like, there is no bookshelf for outsider artist books, right? There's only an ocean of books that nobody will ever read, okay? And all of the best outsider art books are in that fucking, that's the shelf. It's the ocean shelf, that books that nobody ever reads. So, and that's just the way stuff works. If you want to write books that people read, you have to use genre fiction. Boom, just do it. If you want to, like, if you want to write books that people will pay you money for, you can't just be like, I am me, this is my life, here's who I am, and here's what I learned. You can't just be the hero's journey. You have to actually use the hero's journey to make up some other shit and tell it to them that way. You just have to. It's just the way shit works. So, it was a lot of clarity for me, and I just want to point out that my higher self gave me a big hug and a big boost of positive energy and feeling super creative and wide open energetically before I had to deal with the blow. Hey, guess what? You're not getting that fellowship. They've never published any article you've submitted, nor has any of the other online progressive or feminist outlets that you've ever submitted anything to. They don't even acknowledge that you submitted anything. Usually, at least the feminist fellowship thing acknowledged that they were dinging me with the form letters. You know, that's better than most of them. So I've learned not to fucking pound my head on shit anymore. This blog is a manifesto for me, and that's all it is, and that's what I'm gonna call it. I know there's a couple of you girls that watch this blog, Sandy and Pat, g'day, how do you do? But beyond that, if nobody ever watches this blog, that's fine. It's just gonna be my manifesto. Still not gonna send any pipe bombs or anything, it's just not my speed. But I just need to claim my voice, and if you know, I've realized now that the young people, they've got this, the young feminists, they've got this. They don't need my input. You know, it's just, I'm just going to go focus on entertainment in terms of, like, taking care of myself. They do not need my feedback. They do not need my input. They don't need the benefit of my life experience or what I know about rape culture. So I'm going to stop fucking banging my head on it. Truth is, this kind of writing that I'm doing on this blog is personal writing, like developmental writing for me as a human being, therapeutic for me as a human being. And so it's just typical writer's arrogance to think that anybody else should be interested in that. It is really more of a journal. That said, I know that a lot of us are similarly situated, and I go through a lot of shit, and I'm just sharing my processes honestly on here so that it may be useful for you if you have the same kind of PTSD, the same kind of abuse experiences, etc. Now, by the same token, my saints have advised me to get into the writing of a guy named Stephen King, so I can use him as my sort of guideline or my true north as a writer. Because Stephen King uses genre fiction, makes more money than Elvis, seems to be a pretty decent person in terms of like how he lives his life and how he uses the voice that he has. And so it's also high quality literature. High quality literature that is emotionally impactful and truthful and sells the fuck out of books. Okay, that, you know, so that works. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not really going to get into in this video all the personal emotional shit, the loss part of this, like the rejected inner child that I was, because that's, you know, that's just for a different video. That'll be just too long. I took my little magical moment with Dylan Lloyd and I parlayed it into not taking an adverse, let's call it an adverse event personally. Okay, that was my huge win there. 1,500 people applied for that fellowship. 3 of them got it. Now, I had to do a bunch of other thinking about the logic of things like having a fellowship to give voices to marginalized women, writers, who otherwise would not have any access to social support, and having it be like winner take all. That's kind of fuckity for me, and so I have to stop participating in those reindeer games because I just have too much at stake. I put too much of myself in that to just only get form rejection letters back. Kind of feels like I can't find a lunch table to sit at, and that's like a chronic problem of mine all my life. So I'm just gonna stop trying to find lunch tables to sit at and, you know, go sit outside with my sandwich. So It's the life of an outsider artist, folks. Anyway, I was able to break those apart into two things and not have my broken inner child shit interfering with my professional life as a writer. That, I think, was a great gift, but I had to be a big enough person to be an adult about it, take all the different clues and push them together in a way that I could then sort effectively, if that makes sense. Like, it's not going to be a person who has already solved the problems who gives you the answers. All they do is stand with you while you look for clues, and they tell you hotter or colder. That's what your higher self is. I have to trust that life has more in store for me than I could imagine or create for myself, right? I could not have created that Dylan Lloyd flying around in the sky on his bike situation. I did not imagine to see anybody that visually pretty that day, male or female. Total win. So, and the more I want to work with that in terms of recognizing that everything that happens is what your higher self wants to happen. Listen, your higher self is your life. It's the things that actually do happen, right? Whatever you're thinking, planning, whatever you want, those are not the things that you need. The things that you need are the things that appear in your energetic field, in your personal experiential field. So, once you learn to look at it that way, you see that all the conflict comes from your brain and from your thoughts. I think I need to make money so I can make it to the end of the month. No, you need to go buy cookie cutters so you can see Dylan Lloyd. You know, that's what you have to do. And you have to just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And you have to not take shit personally when it isn't, even if it really hurts. See? That's a superpower. That's a fucking superpower that is worth a 17-minute video all by itself, right? You have to be open to letting your higher self give you the gifts that it has to give, the happy little highlight moments, and then you can use those if you learn how to do it and don't think it's going to work the way you think it's going to work. You just have to let life dazzle you. And even when it dazzles you with stuff you don't like, it can be a positive benefit. Me feeling like there is no space for me in the progressive or feminist conversation is not a fucking warm fuzzy. I don't know if I made that clear. But it's the only like mentally healthy conclusion that I can come to at this point. And that's the only thing I can give a shit about is my own mental health. That's why I didn't post on here for about a month, because I'm just too busy getting by and surviving, and I can't cope enough always to post here. So, but anyway, I hope that helps you guys understand what the higher self really is about and how to have really strong resilience in the face of things that are negative. I identified several specific things with my family, specific incidents with my mom, getting bullied in paramedic school, a lot of different things that were really triggered off by this one thing of being rejected for a fellowship that I did not expect to get in the first place. See? I know I'm not the only one that goes through life pursuing projects, and when it doesn't work out, even when you didn't think it would work out, it's still super fucking painful. So I have learned this weekend how to separate that from my life as a writer. I've acknowledged my weaknesses, my strengths and my weaknesses. I've reevaluated what I hope to achieve and how I hope to achieve it. And that helped me see what's realistic and what's kind of not. So, you know, just real quick, I'm going to be writing some fiction, fantasy fiction going forward in this next year. I might publish it under my other name, Art Anonymous. I don't know. I have to work on becoming a marketing girl, because even if I am writing genre fiction, unfortunately, there is no way to just be a writer. You have to also be a marketer of writing, which fucking... I hate capitalism, and Jesus Christ, if I could light it on fire, I totally would. But you can't. So, anyway, I'm gonna shut up now, and I hope I didn't ramble too bad, and I hope you get what a magical weekend I had, and I hope you can use that to your benefit. I know there's only a few people that watch this blog, but this is my manifesto. This is my monument to my own life. I don't have any family. I didn't have kids because I knew I couldn't insulate them from my family. And so I'm going to die alone. And I'm not trying to ask you guys to feel sorry for me. I just want you to understand the context of why I maintain this blog, which I may not come back to for a month at a time, and why I ramble on for 20 minutes and shit that nobody cares about, because it's important to me. This is my way of leaving my mark on the world. This is the only mark that I plan to leave, is my writing. And, you know, I can accept things in a different way. If this sounds kind of like poor me or whatever what I'm saying here, please don't, because I died in 1972 during a sexual assault when I was age 7, which I discussed in the book. And I had that near-death experience, and I made the choice to come back. That's why there is no seat at the lunch table for me. There is nobody with an open seat at any lunch table, because the lunch tables were already assigned, and then I died in 1972, and yet here I still am trying to take a space in a world that doesn't have a fucking space for me. So I kind of just need to get a little more clear about who I am and how I can operate in the world, how I'm different from other people, and what I need to do about that. So I find it actually a pretty exciting opportunity. I am really looking forward to what I will uncover in the magic of story structure, and I feel really good about having this legacy, that I've created this for myself, that I'm putting these things out on the internet, and that I have connected with a few people, and that's great. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later.